Hi, this is Mark from Showmark Sales again. I'm a full-time reseller on eBay and Etsy. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to do a simple forecast for your sales and expenses in your reselling business. Now, every business should have some kind of forecast and what they expect to do in the future. Now, if you're part-time, you don't sell a lot, or you're just starting out, maybe you don't have a lot of data, but in your mind you have an idea about what you want to do. The best thing to do is put that on paper, and I'm going to walk you through what I do for the forecasting. So there's different terms in business and budgeting, forecasting, projections, the whole works. Don't get caught up in all that. You can go as deep as you want, but for this video, we're just going to talk about forecasting and keep it at a real high level so you can make some decisions on data and not what you're feeling. So forecasting is like the weathermen. They use data from past storms. They use models that are coming to predict the weather. A lot of times they're right, sometimes they're off the mark, but most of the time they're in the ballpark. And that's where you want to be with forecasting. It's an educated guess. So the official definition for forecasting is the process of making predictions of the future based on past and present data, and most commonly by analysis of trends. So there's some key terms in that definition. So predictions. A prediction is an educated guess. You're using past and present data to make an educated guess, a prediction on what you're going to do for the month, the quarter, the year. That's just how the weathermen do it. They look at past storms, they look at the trends, they look at all that different stuff. So that's what you want to do. Now trends, you can go look at Google Trends and see what the top toy is selling and all that. That's kind of a little different. You got to be up on the upswing on those. But trends is how your business is working. So for example, for my business in the toys, December and January are my busiest, and then during tax time, when people get their tax refunds, that's when most people have disposable income and they buy some of the collectibles. Now June, July, and August, I go down. So I got to watch my expenses. I don't sell as much, so I watch what I buy. But going into the fourth quarter, that's my busy time. So I usually spend up in October, November to buy stuff to sell in December and January. So that's a trend. Postcards that we sell hundreds and thousands of postcards. All year long they do pretty good. Then they drop off a little bit during summer because everybody's outside playing. They're not at their computers. But wintertime they're all locked up. They're buying postcards. So it kind of goes like that. That's our trend, but it's pretty flatline. It's a pretty stable part of it, but I can predict on what that line is going to look like after having some years of data. Now, if you're just starting out, you're not going to have a lot of trends, but that's the data you need to start collecting so you can have those lines and know when to buy things and not buy things, or what's going to sell, or if you're having a good day, good months or bad months. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a simple way to do a quick forecast for your reselling business. This example here, this is just a spreadsheet that I use. Started off. Mine's a little more detailed now after doing it for years, but this is the simple way that you start off with. I have over 35 years experience in management and management budgets, forecasts, projections, the whole works. And it all comes down, even the $1 million ones, it all comes down to this. This basically retail or whatever is an educated guess on forecasting. So let's walk through this sheet here. Now you can do this on a spreadsheet or you can do it on a piece of paper. It depends how, just whatever you want to do. I do it in a spreadsheet. So in the top, anything that's blue shaded is where you're going to put a number in for calculation. That's a manual entry. There's no calculations in those fields. So the first thing you want to figure out is what is your average sale per item. So if you sold $100 worth of stuff and you sold 10 items, then your average sale is $10. I put 15 here. Then you got to figure out how many items you're going to sell a month at that price. So I said my average sale per item is $15. I'm going to sell 100 of those, and let's do it for a month. So for this month, I'm going to sell average per item $15. I'm going to sell 100 of those items. So I'm going to make $1,500 in gross sales. Then you jump down to your expenses. I said 5% of that sales I'm going to spend on cost of goods. Cost of goods is what you paid for the item that you sold. That's your cost. So I said 5%, so $75 equals the cost of goods sold. So out of those 100 items, it cost me $75 for those items to sell at $1,500. Shipping costs, I said 12%, so it's going to cost me $180 to ship those. I'm in the reseller business on eBay and Etsy. I ship. They paid for shipping, but it's going to cost me $180 to ship those items to the customer. Listing fees, final value fees. Those are just numbers I put in there. They're not the exact for Etsy and eBay. You want to go out there and make sure you got the right numbers for your store. Remember, these are fake numbers. Any tax information and stuff like that, you need to talk to your accountant. I'm not a CPA. So these are just, for this exercise, fake numbers. So listing and final value fees, I'm going to spend money there. Expenses. These are your storage unit charges, your boxes, your tape, your peanuts, whatever, pencils, paper. That's your expenses. Your eBay store charge, not your final value fees, but eBay store. That all goes in the expenses. You can add as many columns under expenses as you want. But I said 18%. I'm going to spend $270 to sell 100 items for $1,500. Then your refunds, additional payments, or any discounts. If you're a top-rated seller, you get a discount over final value fees and stuff. What is that going to equal? And people say, well, why do you put that there? The stuff we sell, postcards and toys, is a low-risk area that we normally don't have a lot of returns or refunds on. But we say 3%. We forecast 3% of our sales is going to be for refunds or returns. We've never hit that, but we keep it there, and we do it for a reason, and that reason actually came true in fourth quarter last year when the post office had a lot of issues and got delayed. We had more refunds during that month of December and January than we did for years together. So, but we had it set for 3%, so we forecasted in there. There's always shrinkage, they call it, or whatever, but you need to put in there. It's part of doing business. It's an expense. And you need to forecast and budget for that. It will happen. That's why there's a whole process behind returns. But some months you're going to do good with them, some months are going to be bad. It's going to average out, but you will have refunds and returns in this business. So those are all expenses. So again, average sale per item, you need to come up with a number. How many of those you're going to sell for the month? Times that together, that'll give you your sales. Then go through and figure out what your percentages for your expenses are. I use percents because that's how I can see if it goes up or down. So you just take 1,500 times 5% will give you that 75 for cost of goods sold. $1,500 times 12% will give you $180. So that's how that works. So all those added up, percents, I have to sell $1,500 worth of items this month. I'm going to spend $750 to do that. And that's going to give me a profit of 50% of $750. Now these numbers are just easy rounded numbers for this exercise, and 50% is probably pretty high for some stores. But that's how you can forecast, real simple, what you're going to do for the month. Now let's do some what ifs. You could actually take this and you can start doing some other guessing. You can get as deep as you want. But let's say I want to start selling higher items for $30 and only sell 50 of them. So basically I want to make the same amount of money, but to do half amount of work. So you're still going to make $1,500, but does any of your other expenses go up? I think your cost of goods would go up because you're going to be selling higher priced items, so you're probably going to have to pay more for that. So instead of 5% for cost of goods sold, maybe now you're going to spend 10% of that. So you can do a lot of what ifs here. Now in the future, as you're going through your forecast and you see some of your areas not doing well, to what you put in here forecast, you can adjust. This is your forecast. So say you got shipping charges set to 12%, but really it's 18% or 15%. Go in and adjust it for the next month so you have a realistic forecast. But that's how simple doing a forecast is. Now, as you get going and thinking about your business in this way, forecasting, okay, you forecasted for the month. Now you want to see how good your forecast was. How good are you at guessing with the data and the trends that you have? you can actually put a column next to it with actuals. This is what I do. So every day I put my actual in there. I can see every day, every morning, I know exactly where my business is, my forecast. And these are the numbers I actually decided I would put in for this exercise. So let's say this is January. So for January, I said I would make $750 profit. Well, I ended up a little bit more. So my average sale per item, I said $15 is what it would be. I actually did $20 average sale, so that's good. But I only sold 90 items, not 100. So I'm a little bit down. My total sales, I'm up $300 to what I said I was going to do. My cost of goods went down, so I saved $15 for the month there. My actual shipping costs went up by $10. My listing fees, I went up by $5. And my final value fees went up by $15. So I'm a little bit off there, but I'm still in the ballpark. My expenses went down by $20, and my refunds and returns and discounts went down by $5 to what I said I was going to forecast. So you can actually see what you forecasted and what you actually did. Are you making your goals? So I came up, in the end, $310 more profit than I said I was going to do. So that's how you can do the actual against your forecast. Now for the next month, you want to go and adjust these. Are you going to do the same thing and stuff? And after a while, you're going to start seeing a trend, and you're going to get those percents and those dollars you're spending in the right category. Now I do it for every month, January, February, March, and so on, and I make sure I do it for the quarter, and then I do it for the year. So I have a good trend. I have actuals and forecasts for every month. Now what I do is January, February, March for first quarter, I look at those and I see how I did for the quarter, and do I need to make any adjustments for second quarter? Then I go through second quarter, do I need to make any adjustments for third quarter, etc. So to my forecast. If you're not making the sales, you can't spend the money on expenses. But if you're making more sales, you could maybe buy that computer you wanted if you forecast it you're going to make and sell it. But also, if you see a dip in your sales or a rise in your postage and stuff, you can attack this right away and say, hey, I'm over forecast. I need to go look at this. I'm spending $1 per box. I need to find a place I can buy these for 50 cents per box. Stuff like that makes you go after the stuff you want. A lot of people in business go by what they feel. You have good days and bad days, but the data is the real. You can't. There's no emotions in the data. That's exactly what's happening. The actual numbers versus your forecast. Now you can take this to the year. So I just took those numbers times 12, and this is how you would come up for the year if you ran those numbers for the year. Is what it looks like here. So as you can see, I can see what I did for the month, but I can also go look and see how I'm doing year to date. So even though you have a real good first quarter, you might have a really bad second and third quarter, and your year to date is really bad. So you need to really buckle down during second and third quarter to get those numbers for the rolling numbers for year to date up. So in the business world, when we run the numbers, there's forecasting and there's budgeting. Budgets don't change. In my world in the business, when we set a budget, I said I was going to do this much in sales and spend this much money. That's what my job was tied to. I had to make those numbers. Forecasts can always be changed, but budget stays the same. So once you get your forecasting down, you can then set a budget for the year and say, this is what I'm going to do. No matter what it is, I'm going to make these numbers. And that's how forecasting and data can drive your business. So this is just a very simple outline of forecasting. You can get as deep as you want into forecasting, but all the stuff I've done over years, it all boils down to this simple way of looking at things. The more data that you can accumulate, the better you will be at forecasting, but you'll never get right down to the penny. You just want to be basically in the ballpark and not throwing money out the window on your forecast. But actual is actual, predictions are predictions. So we have other videos in our playlist on how to help with your business and what we do. like inventory and packing and shipping, stuff like that. So make sure you take a look at those. But in the future, if you want to see when we put these types of videos up, just go ahead and subscribe to our channel, Shellmark Sales, and hit that little bell icon. It'll pop up on your computer when you log in to YouTube. And we thank you for watching. We appreciate it.